Thank you.
Pleasure. We thank you both. Now recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Lawler. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. And first, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership in helping get the Working Families Tax Cut bill across the finish line. And in particular, thank you for negotiating over the issue of SALT, the state and local tax deduction. That was a big win for the American people. A core goal of U.S. stablecoin policy is to keep dollar-denominated stablecoins issued, regulated, and supervised here in the United States rather than offshore. Today, a substantial and growing share of the dollar stablecoin market operates outside the U.S., as foreign jurisdictions move quickly to establish legal regimes that encourage dollar stablecoin issuance in their markets. Foreign-issued stablecoins already compete globally by offering consumers economic value and incentives to use and hold them, and countries like China are actively using economic incentives to drive adoption of their digital currencies. As Treasury implements stablecoin legislation, do you agree that U.S. rules should preserve enough flexibility for American issuers to remain competitive so dollar activity stays onshore, transparent, and under U.S. oversight?
Congressman, and again, I think as you know, I used to have a house in your district.
Yes.
Given the tax regime in New York, I'm not sorry that I'm no longer there. I hope it will come back. It's a beautiful part of the world. With stablecoins, I would say what we want is U.S. best practices. The stablecoins can go around the world, and indeed we are seeing I believe we will see the adoption, especially in emerging economies, or maybe any other individuals who want to hold the U.S. dollar. But I think it is paramount, as was done with the Genius Act, to put in U.S. best practices.
Agree. Different topic. Fraud scams by bad actors are estimated to affect 15% of American homes, representing about 20 million American households in total. And given that losses to these scams often amount to $575, consumers face meaningful financial harm even from a single incident. At the same time, 37% of all U.S. households cannot cover an emergency expense of over $400 with cash or savings, and a fraud loss can be devastating to the average American. These losses can lead to missed debt payments and damage to credit scores, which in some cases prevent home ownership. We've seen a renewed focus on fraud by this administration with the announcement of things like the Scam Center Strike Force, and I'd like to strongly encourage the administration to adopt an all-of-government approach to combating fraud and scams. Secretary Bessent, what role do you think Treasury should play in fighting scams and fraud, and does the FSOC committee have any initiatives planned for the coming year?
Yes, so Treasury, through FinCEN, was part of the group who took down the big scam centers in Asia. We were very focused on places like Laos, like Burma, like North Korea, and even Iran. And the other side of that, Congressman, is that it's used for nefarious. Once the money's stolen, not only has a U.S. citizen been hurt, but it's used for nefarious purposes. So we are constantly monitoring that, and we are working with our partners because, as you said, AI can be both a benefit, it can be both a blessing and a curse. So we think properly managed and rolling it out using private sector partners, we can cut down on that shocking number. I was not aware 15% of Americans are subject to it, but we've also got to be very careful because it will make malign actors more able to pull off bigger scams.
Yeah. Well, and kind of continuing on that front, there's been a growing concentration of cloud and AI model providers and the risk that results if a small number of firms control critical financial sector infrastructure. How is FSOC assessing the financial stability implications of this concentration, particularly in scenarios of an outage, cyber incident, or foreign-based remote access vulnerability? And I had introduced legislation that we passed recently through committee. The Remote Access Security Act ended up passing the House with strong bipartisan support. What steps is FSOC taking to ensure that financial institution reliance on third-party AI and cloud providers does not expose the system to remote access risks?
You'll need to answer that question in writing, Mr. Secretary. The gentleman's time has expired.